Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so here we are. When you get new information, you provide it to the people. Clarity is found. The DeAndre Ayton situation has something very, very interesting attached to it that I just found out right now. DeAndre Ayton initially was asking for $179 million plus incentives, similar to the Michael Porter Jr. contract, from what I understand. Now, I'm taking this information from somebody who got some information on the Suns that I did not have. So, you guys do your own research, figure out if, you know what I mean, this makes sense to you, because I don't know. I have only heard this in one place, but it seems pretty credible from what I'm gathering. So, that's what I'll say about it. That's my disclaimer. But apparently, he wanted a contract like that to where, obviously that was something that the Suns weren't going to be able to do with their situation, their luxury tax situation. So what they did was they allowed him to play the restricted free agency game. Go find an offer sheet with a different type of contract, even though it looks inflated and it's crazy. It's nowhere near the type of contract that he would have got from the Suns, because that had different type of language in it that the Suns didn't really want to deal with. This contract doesn't have that. So that is the new information we have. So in signing this contract, having him match this contract, now puts them in a situation where they actually save over $50 million in luxury tax. So these are the type of things that we need to become educated on, so that we know what positions to take when these trades take place, because we just don't have this information available to us. Now, granted, when you start talking about taxes and things like that, I understand why that's not necessarily available to the public. You don't want everybody in on those type of things as common knowledge. But as it pertains to what it means for building teams and what it means for taking positions on trades and things of that nature, trying to judge whether or not something makes sense, it's very, very, very important. So that is, I guess, the next evolution for the NBA, is to try to make this more common knowledge for all of us, so that we can take proper positions on what it is we see. So that is the reality as I understand it to be. This was a finesse by the Phoenix Suns to save a boatload of money in luxury tax. They never wanted Ayton to go anywhere, which is interesting, because that was a phenomenally great strategy of them. How do you say this? I thought it was a great strategy, letting us know that they didn't see him as that type of player. That was deliberate information given to the public, so that we would have the overall understanding that he was someone they were going to let walk into this restricted free agency situation, thus initiating this process. Brilliant. The question was Indy in on this? They had to be in on this. They had to be working together. Whatever the case, it's pretty damn awesome if you ask me. So, congratulations to the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton. I don't know how Ayton necessarily feels about this, being that probably those contingencies worked in his favor. But all in all, he stays where he wants to stay. They save the money they want to save. And I guess Indy gets left with the bag. I don't know. Maybe they give to Indy something in the future for what took place here. Scratch my back, I scratch yours later, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we've learned here. That is information that I wish was common knowledge. Because when I looked at this trade, I didn't know what I was looking at. When I was looking at the Ayton situation, I was very certain I was looking at incompetence. But when you dig underneath the surface, you will find logic, sound logic. And that is all I ever want to see. So, there it is. That's what I have to share with everybody. Now, from here, do I think the Phoenix Suns are good enough? No, I don't. I don't think they're good enough. But if the object of the game is to save money, then this was a good path, because it doesn't leave you without Ayton. Simple as that. It's a path that doesn't leave you without DeAndre Ayton. So I like that path. That's a good path. You got Ayton on tap for the next 4 years. You got Cam Johnson on tap for the next 4 years. I think he signed for an extension. I don't remember about that. But you also, of course, got Booker locked up and happy. The Chris Paul thing, I still don't quite believe in Chris Paul as a piece for their team going forward because of his age. But if he's going to continue to defy Father Time, then he's going to live up to the contract for what it is they want him to be. Question is, can they bring in the shooting? Can they bring in the shooting? They're not going to get KD. This took them out of the KD runnings. And see, this is why I said KD. I don't think they were going to do this, man, because Sarver obviously had a bigger plan going on. You know, nobody knew what that plan was. I couldn't see the damn plan, obviously, but there was a plan there. So when you ask, okay, let me go to Phoenix, it's like, well, bro, see, what had happened was we kind of had a plan in place. You know what I mean? We would have loved to bring you in, but you're gonna blow that whole plan up if we do so. So that's literally how that went. And I kind of saw that way. I was like, you know, it's hard to move, man. You can't be as expensive as KD and just think teams are gonna be able to just move you. No, because once you sign that 4-year deal, you represent all possible ways of maximizing your value. Like, you now are at the most expensive version of yourself. So in order to move you, I got to be able to do all kinds of stuff. I got to move mountains within my organization just to acquire you. So yeah, I got 5-year, 10-year plans involving players that may not even be in the league yet. I can't move you here because that blows up those plans. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we can't blow up those plans. We've been working on this. Time's gone into these plans. Like, a lot of thinking, a lot of people coming together to agree that this should be done has gone into these plans. We can't just blow this up because you're unhappy in your situation. Now you want to move. And so that's what he's learning right now in real time. That's what the whole market is learning. Like, look, if you're going to sign these big old contracts, bro, you got to be willing to put in that time, whether they get it right or not, whether you like the decisions that they're making in the short term or not. Just like you have your short amount of time to figure out what you're going to do with your career, they have much longer to consider, and a lot of those plans have that in place. So it's not as simple as just moving a dollar here and bringing a player to no, I got to bust up plans, long-term ones, just to fit you in. So yeah, that inflates the value, the cost of doing business. Now the trade itself, just to make the transaction, is going to cost. I don't want to blow up my plans. So now you got to play me 3 or 4 extra picks because my plans are busted because you want to do this dumb thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what ended up happening there with Utah to a degree. It's like they kind of tacked on a little extra just for the cost of doing business. I think that's why Rudy Gobert's trade was so inflated as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think KD gets moved. The more I look at this situation, the more I realize he got to go back and probably play a year or two on that contract. I know he's going to want to be defined, stomp, and all that, but you got this 4 years. Most people who do this don't have 4 years on a contract, bro. Not 4 of them. 4? You just signed it. The ink ain't even dry yet. It becomes a point where it's like, yeah, before knowing all of this about the market, sure, you can ask for a trade. After learning all this, now it's just a situation where it's like, are you still going to do this? You know what I mean? Like, going forward with his trade demand after learning what we've learned here, to me, it's the wrong move. It ain't even about ethics. It's the wrong move. Now you're just moving pieces on the chessboard the wrong way at this point, if you're KD. Because all this did was teach us how the game works. So, okay, new information, you just go back to Brooklyn, man. You go back to Brooklyn and you demand the hell out of there 6 months from now when the waters smooth out, when teams have a better look at these young players and know how true value actually should be seen in regards to those players. Because those players' value is still inflated. They've just been drafted. So you still have this dream about what they're going to be. Now, when they get on the basketball floor, they start missing a couple shots, whatever they're going to do, then you start deflating their value, and now more likely you'll be willing to throw them in for a player like KD, especially if they see KD bounce back, look good in the regular season for the first couple of games, maybe have a big game, 38, 40 points. Okay, now I see the best version of KD. I see these kids He's been pushed around a little bit. All right, let's make the deal. Because that's how the waters are gonna get flushed out in a way that allows KD to move. That doesn't mean that you're any happier with the Nets than you were to this morning. You're not. Like, we're not happier with them, but now we just got to strategize a way to effectively get out of here, because there's no other way to effectively get out of here. So that's how it has to be. Because stomping your feet into being in defiance, like that's something you do when you don't understand what the other guy's in a position to do. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't do that. You can stomp your feet all you want, but this is one of them situations where it's like you're telling me to remove the floor from underneath us. You know what I mean? I can't remove the floor from underneath us just because you're upset with me. We have to be able to stand on something. So that's literally how this works for KD. I don't think defiance is the move. I don't even think compliance necessarily is the move. I just think he has to go back, put on his hard hat, just play ball, and just be professional now. Like, that's it. That's how you move the chess pieces to get what you want now. I hate it. If I'm him, I hate it. I mean, like, I'm not happy about this at all. And, but because I don't have a choice, it's not like I got to walk around as if I've tucked my tail in between my legs. That's not what's happened here. Everybody is going to have to move a certain way. It's not just KD. You know what I mean? It's like, he can respect the fact that they understand the environment's uncomfortable. They're not coming to work enjoying it either, because this situation's in place too. So it's not like he has to walk around thinking people got one over on him. Everybody, I'm sure, would love the waters to settle so they can move on. So that's how I would approach it if I'm KD. It's just like, all right, yeah, the media is going to be doing this, but when do they not? At the end of the day, there's no other choice. It's not like we're committing one out. But we need to let the contract mature, and we need to put on an audition so someone will believe in that contract and acquire it. So that's what it is for KD, man. Unless the Raptors are able to put something together, or the Knicks or something like that. But that's what it is, man. That's what it is. And it sucks. Hopefully when they go back to the drawing board, in terms of the collective bargaining agreements, they can smooth some things out that take into account not only the concerns of the owners in reaction to what they've gone through, but also the concerns that have been created by the atmosphere of all of this. Because you can make things worse by reacting to it in such a way that restricts players even more so than they have been. You got to be able to work within this ability for them to have power to move around, because at the end of the day, once people start feeling restricted, it becomes an environment that becomes volatile. And I think you start having more fights. You start having more lashing outs. You start having more disruptions off the court. People start drinking and stuff like that when they're really unhappy. So the NBA needs to be very careful. And hear me good. Be very careful not to react in this situation that in a way that disrespects that possibility, is what I'm saying. Don't neglect that possibility. You restrict people, they're gonna feel really, really, really unhappy. And so that's kind of how I see that. That's kind of how I see it. So anyway, that's my take on things. Congratulations to the Phoenix Suns on saving a lot of money secretly. Wow, that was a shrewd move, buddy. Shrewd move. Caught me off guard. And look, I'm looking to learn, man. I'm gonna advocate for them letting us have this information more so. I want to have a good take, people. Like, honestly. And so there's going to have to be more studying on my part, finding out where I can find this information. But more so, I'm saying I want to advocate for the bigger companies to blast this information so that we can have these proper positions on these teams. If this is possible with the luxury tax and all these different things are going on behind the scenes, well, yeah, if we don't know about it, we're going to look at things a certain way. And we're going to look like idiots when we speak that way. And that's not just limited to people like myself who are talking heads. I'm talking about people in the barbershops, on the street. You want to know what's the right thing to want. And when you don't have this information, you can't effectively know what's best for ourselves as fans, for our teams. So that is key, NBA. If you're going to let us have all this suspense and you're going to tell us about all this stuff, movement and stuff like that, then it's going to be an environment for which people don't want to have conversations and be right. Okay? We love being right, and it can't be right when we don't have this information. So, make it available to us. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.